Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. If we haven't met yet, my name is Melissa, and I will be here to guide you through all levels yoga today. We are going to practice for 45 minutes. And just a reminder as we go through class today to listen to your body. So not every stretch works for every person. So if we come into a particular stretch that is not working for you, please skip it, come on out and modify. And things that you'll need for your class today is you'll want to have a yoga mat, something that you feel comfortable practicing on. I always like having the blanket close by. It just gives a little bit of padding, and I'm sitting up on a yoga block. So if you have a yoga block, you can grab that as well. And the block and the blanket are not a necessity for the practice today. So if you don't have them, no worries. We're not doing any poses that you have to have it for. It gives a little bit of support through the class. So as we go through class today, I wanted to take some time to work with the IT bands. So we'll focus our practice a little bit on the iliotibial bands. So these are bands of tissue that run on the outsides of the leg. So it connects our knee to our hip. And it's this thick band of fascia and connective tissue. And you're probably familiar with it if you ever try to do foam rolling on the side and roll out, because for most people, it tends to be very tight and that can be a little bit painful. So that would, if you have a lot of tightness in this area, it would be called iliotibial band syndrome. And a lot of things that we do in our everyday life can really tighten up the IT bands. So if you feel that you are sitting a lot, if you enjoy running and hiking and biking and things like that, it can really tighten up that area. So even if you're very active or sedentary, it really kind of affects everyone. And today our practice will be really great for just kind of opening up that area. And it's really important to do that because, everything is so connected in our body, right? So if the IT bands are really tight, then we might feel that our hips are tight and that might tie into our low back. So I really feel that focusing on this area will really promote balance and alignment through the whole entire body. So I hope that you enjoy the class today. I know personally my IT bands are always a little tight, so I think this will be really great, really balancing, aligning, and just very beneficial for the full body. As we start today, I did want to share a little passage that I came across, a little bit of a reading that I thought ties in really nice to our yoga centering. Talks a little bit about, being mindful and, the stresses of life. Worrying about the day only invites anxiety. Today will go exactly as it needs to go. The only thing you can control is your reaction to the things that happen around you. If you feel anxious about something, spend a moment to reframe it in your head. Turn a negative thought into something positive and enter the day with fresh eyes and the resolve to react less and invite calm when anxiety begs to thrive. So I just thought that that was just such a nice passage. And I believe that, most of us probably experience a lot of stress and anxiety every day. And sometimes that's a necessary thing. And personally, I know that I get myself stressed out and experience anxiety about things that are not important. So as I read this, it's just a really nice reminder to reframe things, really to take a step back and see if it's really something that I need to be concerned about, or if it's just my mind playing some tricks on me. So maybe, take this passage with you through the day, and especially through our yoga practice today. And, maybe bring this into the morning because it does talk about that, entering your day with fresh eyes and the resolve to react less and invite calm when anxiety begs to thrive. So maybe bring that into your workday tomorrow. So as we get started, I would love to come down onto our backs, and that's where we're going to start with that practice while we focus on the IT bands. So what we're going to do is just a little centering on our back. So feel free to lay down nice and flat, or you can bend the knees and plant the feet. And if it's really challenging for you to view your screen while you're here on the ground, we're not going to be here for too long, and I will explain everything as best as possible. So you should be able just to follow along with my words. So just listening clearly to the directions. So as we start on this one, legs can relax, arms can relax. And there's also a variation where the knees bend and the feet will plant. So You have a couple options here. Sometimes bending the knees, planting the feet will just help to relax the back muscles if they tend to be a little bit tight and tense. We are going to close the eyes here. And we'll just feel ourselves connecting to our body and to our breath. Working with a mindfulness body scan. Relax the back of the head and the back of the neck. Relax through the shoulders, the arms, the hands. Relax the upper, mid, low back. Legs relax, feet relax. Take a moment to connect with your breath, the rise and fall of the breath. Lengthen on in-breath, lengthen on out-breath. Maybe encourage the out-breath to be a little bit longer than the in-breath. And then setting an intention for class. So maybe your intention is to work on the IT bends. Maybe it is that you know that that area holds a lot of tension, that the fascia is very tight and not open. And maybe you want to bring a bit of relief to your body. Also, your intention can be anything else, so whatever you'd like it to be. So let's get started by bringing our feet down. Our feet will plant in line with our hips. Our knees will be bent. And what we're going to do here is we'll work a little bit with a variation of a bridge pose. And a lot of times the IT bands get very tight because the glutes get very, what is it? They're not quite formed and things like that. They're more relaxed. So what we're going to do is work a little bit with building some strength there. Now we are going to ground down into the feet, tuck your tailbone, lift your hips up. And then as we're holding a bridge pose, let's take our knees out to the sides of the room. So it's almost a little bit like a clamshell movement. And then we're going to sweep our knees in. Maybe imagine that we could squeeze a little beach ball between the knees. And then we're going to open those knees up. And then we're going to close them. So we're staying lifted in that bridge. And then let's go a few more times throughout your own pace. Good. Let's bring it down. We're going to tuck our tailbone. We're just going to release down. And we'll just take a moment here to pause. We'll give ourselves an inhale and exhale. Let's try that again. Feet are going to ground down. Tailbone will tuck. Squeeze the glutes as you lift up. Hold into your bridge pose. And then as you're holding bridge, let's go 7 times total. So we're going to open those knees for 1. Bring them in for 1. Let's open for 2. And in for 2. Now go at your own pace here. So the nice thing about going at your own pace is that you can really take this opportunity to link breath and movement. If you feel that your breath is a little longer than mine, you can work with that. If you feel like it's a little shorter, because we all have our own unique breathing patterns. Good. Let's begin to release down. We're going to tuck the tailbone, come on down 1 vertebrae at a time. This time to reset, feet are going to come out nice and wide to the edges of your yoga mat. Drop your knees in. It's going to give your sacrum a little break. That's the low part of the spine. Looks like an upside down triangle. Good. Now let's walk our feet back in line with our hips. And we'll continue with the similar stretches here. So we'll bring our right leg up and over to start. So this is our figure four stretch. So when we gaze down, we just want to feel that that foot is hooked up on our leg and nice and open. And it looks a little bit like the upper part of the number four. Now let's engage the core. We're going to ground firmly into the foot that's planted. Hips are going to lift up. And we're just going to hold it here for a moment. So the leg that is lifted, creating the figure four, let's flex that foot. And then that knee that's lifted in the air in the half figure four, you can feel that knee pull down just a little bit. And we are going to release. Let's come on down. The leg that creates that half figure four, let's plant it. Opposite leg comes up and over. We'll create figure four on the other side. Ground firmly into foot that's planted, tailbone tucks. We're gonna lift our hips up. The foot that's on the mat, try to get very grounded here. So we wanna press through the inside and the outside of the foot. And noticing your body's natural tendency, if you tend to roll in or out. Let's begin to release ourselves down. Again, to reset, feet will come out nice and wide. Knees will come together for dropping them in. And we'll take a nice deep full breath in and out here. From here, let's begin to roll onto the left side of the body. We'll work a little bit with the legs. So we're going to start on the left side. And if you know that your hip is a little sensitive against the ground, feel free to grab the blanket to do a little bit of padding here. Left arm can either prop you up in a half sphinx pose, and feel free to relax. You can hang out here too if you want. Now we'll start with some clamshells. Bending your knees, try to have your heels in line with your hips. We'll have a little bit of an angle for those legs. Glue the insides of the feet together. We're gonna open the knees up. Knees are gonna close, open, close. Let's go with the breath here. So try to make sure that you're breathing. I want to inhale and exhale through the nose. Sometimes when we breathe through the mouth, it can activate the fight or flight response. So inhaling, exhaling through the nose just helps to keep the mind, the body calm, relaxed, at ease. And release. Let's come back to neutral here. What we'll do is keep the legs in this position, but then we're going to scoot them up. So from here, we're going to take our hips in line with our knees, and then we'll also have our heels in line with the knees. We'll just do a 90-degree angle here. We are going to glue our knees, our hips down, and what we'll do is just try to lift the feet up, and then we're going to bring the feet down. Rising up and lowering. Let's go 10 more times here. And release our bottom leg. It will stay just how it is. And then let's take an opportunity to straighten out our top leg. And then we're just going to try for some leg lifts here. So we're going to lift that right leg when you're ready and lower. And release. We're going to take a moment to switch sides. So you can just flip yourself over. Clamshells to start. Let's bring legs into that 45-degree angle. Be very mindful of our alignment. Alignment's always so important. And then we're gonna open, we're gonna close. Let's take 12 total on this side. Maybe do a little scan of your body, noticing where you're holding on to tension, maybe tensing up through the shoulders, or the jaw, the eyebrows. Try to let that tension go. With each exhale, try to relax a little bit more. Let your knees float up. We're gonna reset back to that 90-degree angle. So we'll have our knees in line with our hips. We'll take our heels in line with our knees. Gluing the knees down, gluing the hips down. Let's begin to lift the feet up and then lower. Rising with the breath. And release. Bottom leg stays how it is. Let's straighten out our top leg. We're gonna lift it up and lower. 11 more times here. Good. Let's let that one go. And we'll all meet in the tabletop position. So tabletop is on the hands and the knees. Again, grab that blanket if you need to. Maybe give a little padding to the body. Little bit of space between the knees. We'll take our knees, our hips in line. We'll bring our wrists, our shoulders in line. Now for this version of table, let's work a little bit with those legs. So we're going to bring our knees together. They're gonna touch. And then what we're gonna do is we're just taking our toes out to the sides of the room. So we're opening up our feet nice and wide. And then we're gonna come back to center and we're gonna do a nice little tap to reset. So knees are touching, insides of feet are touching, and then we're gonna open up to the sides of the room. We're going to reset here. And you just go at your own pace. Now, if you find that the wrists are really sensitive, maybe you've been on the computer a lot today, you can always tense up onto the fingertips, and that would just help to build a bit more strength in the wrists, strengthen up through the hands. And another option would be to create some fists here too, and you can just press the fingers down a little bit. Good. We're going to come back to center here. Let's just flow through cat and dog for a couple times. Lower your stomach, lift up your heart. Tailbone lowers, crown of head lowers. And let's go one more time down and one more time up. Good. As you reset yourself back to center, let's take one more exercise here. So we'll zip those knees up again. So knees are touching. And from here, engaging the core, gently drop your hips to the right. So they're not going to come all the way and touch the ground, but we're going to incorporate this nice twist and then IT band stretch. We'll bring ourselves back to center to realign here. Let's drop our hips to the other side. Back to center. And let's take this one at your own pace. So core is engaged. That's very important. Just hold the integrity of the stretch. So we just don't want to use our momentum and throw ourselves into the stretch. We want to move very mindfully, moving with intention. Good. Let's bring ourselves back to center. Traditional table, knees in line with hips, wrists in line with shoulders. Let's try for a C curve in the spine. Gaze off your left shoulder, look back for your left toes. Come back to center, gaze off the opposite shoulder. And let's go one time to the left and one time to the right. Good. Let's bring ourselves back to center here. Let's take it up into a downward facing dog. Toes will curl under, hips right to the sky, also called Adho Mukha Svanasana. Shaking it out a little bit in this one, so it may feel nice to bend one knee, to bend the other knee, and relax the head yes and no. So just shake it out a little bit here. Movement is always really nice, just to move the energy in the body, get the circulation flowing, get that blood flow going to down to the toes, to the fingertips. As you come into stillness, let's come into plank. We will find a high push-up position. Knees can be up or down, whichever you prefer. And we'll float into an up dog from here. So let's take that reverse push-up down to the mat, Chaturanga Dandasana. We'll come into upward facing dog, open the chest and open up the heart space. Lifting back to down dog and exhale. Toes curl under, hips to the sky. Toes to the hands, let's bring it forward into a fold. As you find your fold, let's check out those legs here. Bend one knee, then the other knee. Relax your head yes, and relax the head no. As you find stillness here, bring yourself into a half lift, lifting the spine and lengthening. Coming down to a fold, and then we'll rise up. Take a full breath in. And hands at the heart space as you exhale. So I know we worked with a reclining pigeon. Let's try for a standing pigeon. So again, that's going to be that nice IT band stretch, hip opener. Can be a little bit more challenging, so feel free to grab onto a wall or a table if that's close by. We'll begin with our right leg. Bring your right leg up and over. Again, find that figure four. Let's take that big number 4. Hips are going to come down, back and down, arms up. So if you're familiar with that pose called chair pose Utkatasana, feels a little bit like that, right? We really bend into our left knee. We feel our hips, almost imagining that they were against a wall, and you can just kind of slide down that wall, intensifying the stretch. Now on this one, to give yourself a little more, flex your right foot and then encourage this right knee down a little bit. That will give you more of a hip stretch, more of a leg stretch. From here, let's open into a warrior one pose. So we'll begin to unwrap the leg, right foot will float back. Right heel begins to lower down. Hands are gonna reach up when you're ready. And warrior one is when our back heel is grounded. So we want to feel ourselves pressing firmly into the outer edge of the back foot. And that can give you that really nice calf stretch and really nice hamstring stretch. Let's take a moment to release the shoulders and the spine a little bit. So we're going to just frame our ears with the arms. We'll just kind of create a little box here. Take a nice full breath to lengthen. See if you can relax your shoulders away from the ears. And then gently encourage the arms off to the right for a lateral stretch. Breathe in and breathe out. Let's bring ourselves back to center. We'll realign here, lengthen. Arms to the other side. And see if you can reach from the waist. You want to lengthen through the side body, through the arm. Inhale and exhale. Back to center. Let's reset. Hands are going to come down. Let's bring ourselves into a runner's lunge. Right leg will lift to the sky for a standing splits pose. Now, as you take standing splits, if you wanted to play with the balance a little bit more, maybe bring your hands onto the ankle of that left foot. So you can challenge that balance a little bit more. To come out of this one, let's try for a standing pigeon. Maybe try to keep that right leg lifted the whole time. Right leg comes up and over. hips come back and down. So it's pigeon on the same side. So we're gonna really open up the right side of the body. Nice full breath in and out. Good. Let's release. We're gonna take our hands down, right foot plants, and left leg. Let's bring that one up and over. We'll go on the other side. Maybe a little easier this time, maybe a little bit more challenging. Hips back and down, flexing the foot, knee encourages down, hands up. Sometimes the yoga poses are a little easier on the second side. First time we're trying to feel the pose out, figure out the alignment. And then on the second side, the body knows where to go. So sometimes the balance is a little stronger, or the stretch is a little easier. Always so interesting to have that inquiry of the body, noticing, becoming aware, being mindful. Let's send this leg back. We'll come back to that warrior one pose, also called Virabhadrasana Eka. So we send that left foot back, left heel lowers, hands reach up, deep bend in the front knee. Nice pose if you feel like you're sitting a lot through the day today. So it's gonna open up your quad on the left side, also the hip flexor psoas. So those are gonna be those muscles there. Quad is that big muscle there. So on the left side, we're really opening that one up. Now let's frame the ears with the arms. We're gonna find that square. Lengthen. Let's take it to the left this time. Little lateral stretch. On the right side, we have all of these little intercostal muscles. We can give them a wonderful little stretch and opening on this one. Back to center. Let's lengthen here. Release to the other side. Get very grounded in the legs. Almost imagine from your hips down that you are in concrete. So bending deeply into the front knee and not straightening the leg. Back to center. Warrior one. Let's take those hands down. Runner's lunge. Left leg lifts to the sky. Standing splits pose. See if you can relax your head. Let your head hang heavy like a weight. So many times we hold a lot of tension in the head. So in this pose, we can just let it relax, release. All of those muscles can get a little bit of a break. Zip up the core. Let's take the left knee to the chest. Try to compress the front body as best as you can. And let's try to come on up. Standing pigeon on the other side. We'll have our hips back and down. Breathe in, breathe out here. Now to come on out of this one, I'd love to come into a forward fold with the legs crossed. Left leg will sweep behind the right. We're gonna cross those feet and then hinge at the hips to come on down. Now, if it's accessible to you, try to have your toes in line, heels in line. Maybe you need to bring your hands on blocks and that's okay, or maybe the hands on your legs, maybe grab for the shins or the quads. Now let's give it a try on the other side. Let's take our left foot so that it's in line with right. We're in our traditional fold this time, and then right foot to the left. Let's try to square those feet off as well on the side. Maybe bring the weight forward into your toes. Send your weight back into your heels. And maybe draw the weight to the right. Maybe draw the weight to the left. I don't know about you, but I definitely feel an IT band stretch, and I even feel a stretch on the outsides of the shins there, which many yoga poses, I don't experience that. So it's always really good to mix up the yoga practice, try different things, because every transition will work the body differently. Every pose works different muscles. So we'll unwrap the legs, feet in line with the hips, hands to the shins. We're gonna lift and lengthen the spine. Let's come on down to a fold and we'll rise on up. Take a nice full breath in as you come on up. Hands at the heart as you exhale. Let's bring our right knee into the stomach and into the chest. So fingers will interlock. Reach for the front of the knee. Holding it here. So you may want to find a drishti, maybe find one spot to focus your concentration, to focus your awareness. And once you find that spot, not letting the eyes shift at all. Right knee, let's bring it off to the right. We're gonna land in an inner leg stretch here. Left hand can come to the left. Maybe find a mudra in the hands. Maybe take the index and the thumb, the pads of the fingers come together. We call this our chin mudra, yana mudra. So mudra that's good for cultivating concentration and creativity. We're gonna bring ourselves back to center, knee hugs to the chest. And let's take that right knee to the left for a twist. Right hand to the right. Gazing off the right fingertips. Full breath in. Full breath out. Let's bring ourselves back through to center. Knee can hug to the chest. And from here, we'll take it into a crescent warrior. So we're just gently releasing that right foot back. Right heel is lifted, hands reach up. Also called a high lunge pose. So on this one, see if you can activate that right leg a little bit more. Maybe you can press out through the back of the knee. Very common in this one to be a little bending into the back knee. So really try to press out. And as you press out, you'll intensify the hip flexor and quad stretch on this side as well, on the right side. Now to come on out of this one, we are going to spring off the right foot, hug it into the chest and into the stomach. So fingers will interlock as you come on through. And we're just gonna change up the stretch this time. So last time we were hugging it right into our stomach and our chest. This time you can also release one of the hands. And what we're gonna do is try to pull this knee into the underarm. So we're just gonna give ourselves a little different hip stretch. Leg stretch, low back stretch. And you can also use the other hand too now. A little different because we're trying to avoid stomach, avoid rib cage. Other one was pulling it right in. So just a little bit of a different hip stretch. From here, let's open into warrior two. So we'll bring that right foot back. Shoulders over hips. Hands reach forward and back. Get very grounded in your lower body. And we definitely don't want to be gripping in through the feet, but we do want to ground into the feet. So imagine that you could pull your feet to the center of the mat. So the feet aren't going to actually move, but you'll just feel this activation of the leg muscles, the feet muscles, and then this energy of just pulling up and in. From here, let's try a pyramid pose. And for pyramid, right foot will step forward, not all the way to the mat. We're going to take a little bit of a hop forward on this one. Now, right toes are pointing forward, just how the left foot is, and our hips and our shoulders will square forward. Hands reach up, inhale. Let's come on down to fold, exhale. And head can relax, neck can relax. And if you would like to intensify the stretch, maybe play with the weight in the feet. Draw your weight forward into the toes. Send your weight back into the heels. Maybe shift the weight to the right and to the left. Let's take our right foot to meet left. Forward fold. We'll bring it to a halfway lift. Fold to the earth. Rise up with the breath. Ground into your feet as you rise. Hands at the heart. And exhale. Left leg, let's bring it up and into the chest and into the stomach. Fingers will interlock. And then again, on this one, it's pulling it right in. So you can use a little bit of that arm strength, a little bit of the shoulder strength. Left knee off to the left. Let's open it up. Right hand to the right. Maybe look off to the right. That sometimes challenges the balance a little bit, makes it a little bit more tricky. Always nice to challenge yourself on the yoga mat. We'll bring ourselves back to neutral. Knee to chest, hug it in, and then let's float it to the other side. Gaze off the left fingertips, left shoulder relaxes. Back to center. Let's bring that knee to our chest. We're gonna hug it in and then step it back. Let's bring it to a crescent warrior. So we have our left foot back, left heel lifted, hands reach up. And similar sensation that we just worked with in that warrior two, right? Is we don't want to grip with our feet, but we do want to get grounded. Maybe imagine that you could lift your 5 toes off of the ground on that front foot. So you can feel that really strong connection in your foot, and the foot won't actually move, but maybe imagine that you could pull it back. And then as you do that, you're going to feel more muscles work. Maybe you feel the quad intensifying on the left side. Knee to the chest. Let's spring off the left foot, come forward, fingers interlock. And then again on this one, we're avoiding our stomach and our rib cage, and we're trying to use our arm strength to pull that knee into the underarm area. And letting that one go, we're gonna open up nice and wide into warrior two pose. This one is called Virabhadrasana Dvi. Now in warrior two, very important to have mindfulness about our knees. So you always want to have a very nice alignment on our knee. Gaze down to your right knee and just make sure that your knee's not coming in. This is very common to see this. So when you look down, make sure that your knee is tracking in line with your second and your third toe. That's nice, safe alignment on the legs. To come on out, legs can release, arms can reset, and we'll try out that pyramid stretch on the other side. It's also nicknamed the intense side stretch pose because we get such a good stretch in all the sides of our body. We're going to take our hands up, inhale. Let's come on down to fold, exhale. And then as you're folding here, if you'd like to play with the weight in the feet, you can do that to give yourself more stretch. Maybe draw more weight into that right foot to lift the right hip up. Maybe draw your left hip forward. Feel that right hip crease pull back a little bit. See if that changes up the stretch in your body. To come on out of this one, let's come into runner's lunge. We'll spring off our left foot. We'll come back to runner's lunge. Right foot meets left. Plank, high push-up. Knees up or down. Lower chaturanga. We'll come into an up dog here. See if you can relax your shoulders away from the ears. Create a little bit more space here between the ears and the shoulders. Let's bring it to a down dog on the exhale. And from here, let's begin to lower the knees down. Scoop your feet to the right or to the left. We're going to come into seated. And then as you come to seated, let's make our way all the way down onto the back. And we'll wrap up our practice with one last leg stretch. So for this one, either your left leg is straightened along the mat, or it's bent, whichever you prefer. And then let's take our right leg and we'll just straighten our leg right on up to the sky. Now, this is a small movement, but it's always an important movement. So what we're going to try to do is take our right foot and we're going to try to rotate it so that the right toes move to the left. So we're kind of cranking the foot a little bit. And you might get a little stretch there on the outside of the calf and the outside of the shin there, and then down to the IT band as well. So we're going to take a minute to reset. Also important to really activate this right leg. So press out through the back of your knee and your heel. Try to have very, very active legs. And let's try that again. We're going to crank our right toes to the left. And release. We'll take a nice full breath in and out here. And let's try for one more. So we're just going to crank those right toes to the left. And release. Let's bring that right foot down. So either knee is bent, foot is planted, leg can straighten out. Left leg extends up. Activate the leg. Take a breath here. And then let's begin to take our left toes and we're cranking them to the right. We're going to try to keep the whole leg pretty straight, and the whole leg isn't really moving. It's just that movement of the foot. And then we'll reset. We'll take an inhale and exhale here. Let's crank our left toes to the right. And as you're doing that, press out through your heel. Maybe get a little calf stretch and hamstring stretch as well. And we can reset. Let's go one more time here. Left toes will crank to the right. And release. We'll take our left foot down to meet our right. Feet come out nice and wide to the edges of the mat. Knees drop to the right. Knees drop to the left. This is a windshield wipe of the legs, side to side. And from here, coming into stillness, we'll take a few moments in Shavasana, which is our resting and relaxation pose of the yoga practice. For this pose, legs can relax, arms can relax, knees can bend, feet can plant. So either feet are in line with your hips. Another way to modify would be to take your feet out nice and wide and then drop your knees in. That'll just be a little different active rest pose. Maybe take the arms along your body, palms facing up. That's an expression of receiving. And it also gives us this opportunity to open up our shoulders a little bit more. We can open up our heart space. Try to clear the mind of thoughts. We always have thoughts moving through the mind, maybe thoughts for the past, thoughts for the future. Try to release the thoughts. Bring the awareness to the breath. Bring the awareness to the present moment. And then remembering the present moment, the only moment where life truly exists. Take a moment to become aware of how you feel in the moment. Feel your mind relax. Feel your mind at ease. Feel your body calm. Feel your body balanced. Bringing mindfulness into the moment and just noticing the effects of yoga. And how good you feel when you practice yoga, when you practice meditation. Let's roll to fetal positions. You can come to your favorite side, maybe the right or the left side. If you'd like, maybe create a pillow with a low arm to support your head. Press on up. We will land in a seated position. Sitting in a position that feels comfortable for your body. So maybe crossing your legs or extending them out in front. So we call this one Sukhasana. It's called the easy seat, the happy seat. Hands can come into the heart in prayer. This is Anjali Mudra. Maybe gently bowing your head to your prayer hands. Let's end our time together with gratitude. thinking of something in your life that you are truly grateful for. The light within me honors the light within you. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much for being here with me today. It's a pleasure to guide you through the yoga practice. I hope that you enjoyed this IT band practice. Personally, my legs feel amazing, and I hope that you experience the same benefits in your body. I look forward to seeing you next class. I will be back tomorrow if you need a little break. We have a 3 o'clock Eastern time, 15-minute mindful stretch. So similar in some ways to the yoga class, just a little bit shorter so you can squeeze that into the workday, but we'll be on the yoga mat and we'll work with some really nice stretches to help relax your mind and relax your body. I will see you very soon. Take care.
Thank you.
You're welcome.